Welcome to the How Did Show, where interesting people answer the questions, how did I get here? And how in the hell did I get here? With your host, Donovan Corneets.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of the How Did Show. I'm your host, Donovan Corneets, and man, this is a special one, y'all. A very, very special one, y'all. My guest today is an American music producer, brand strategist, professional YouTuber, award-winning creative marketing specialist, and founder of the Sell Music Academy Incorporated, and has established himself as an authority in the online business world. Now, as a producer, he's made music with artists like G-Eazy and Kevin Gates. Well, as a music marketing guru, he's amassed over 240,000 subscribers, and his videos are surpassing 13 million views. And I also have the luxury of calling him a good friend. So y'all, show some love to my man, Adam Ivy in the house. What's up?
Thanks for having me, man. Hey, that was one of the best intros I've ever had. You're like a legendary hype man. I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's always good sitting down with you. And like I said, the opportunity is appreciated, not only to do the show, but to have you as a friend, my friend. So thank you.
Yeah. Cool. And I want to point out, I'm representing
Just Be
in the house.
Absolutely. Represent. I mean, that hat will go for a pretty penny on eBay, because I'd probably buy it from you.
We'll talk about prices after this. I know you can afford it. But anyway, man, thank you so much for being on this show. And let's just get right to it, man. So this is the How Did Show. And the first part of the show is you letting us know, how did I get here? So how did Adam Ivy become Adam Ivy?
So I started producing music in 2005. I'd been working in a wood window factory for 4 years, and kind of one day had this realization that this is going to be my life for the rest of it if I don't think bigger and do something with my life. I grew up in central Wisconsin, where love the people, love the hospitality. It's almost Canadian, as nice as everybody is. But it's a very blue collar area where I grew up, where people aren't really afforded the luxury of dreaming. And so one thing that I was introduced to was music production by one of my best friends, Zach, aka DJ DeVille.
Shout out DJ DeVille.
It's 100% all day, every day. Without him, I wouldn't be here, quite honestly.
Okay.
And I started producing music. I sold a motorcycle that I had so I could quit that day job and invest in the little crappy setup that I had to make music. And then in 2007, I decided to make the journey down to Florida to kind of step outside the box, kind of break the mold of what I was expected to do in life from the circle of influence that I had in my family and stuff, and kind of just test myself as a man, as cheesy as that might sound.
Plus a little bit better weather in the winter too than Wisconsin.
Always.
No offense, Wisconsin, but
no, I do not miss the ice and snow. It is nice though, like on Christmas and stuff, until you have to be out in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved down to Florida, had a few day jobs, and then lost the day job in 2009, where I was essentially forced. There's a lot of stories of people like, I finally was able to quit my day job and go after the hustle 100% of my time. And I was kind of the opposite. I thought that I had a future at this company that I was working for, and I was still making music, supplemental income with some graphic design jobs and whatnot.
Okay.
But then the economy caught up with that business, and they had to let go, I think, about 12 people. I happened to be one of them, just blindsided. And I told myself, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to make my own rules. I'm going to be the boss of my own life. And it sucked for a while. But then, 2010, 2011 came around, and I had kind of figured out how to make, $100,000 or more with my music online.
Okay.
It didn't start easy. But, doing the graphic design projects for like every club here in Orlando at the time, and doing menus for little cafes, anything.
Ladies' night.
Plenty of those, the white parties, black parties, Halloween, everything you could think of, man. And the ironic thing is, I don't drink and I don't go out. So it was just like, sure.
Look, you're playing the role. Yeah, whatever.
That's it. So with all that being said, man, did music full time for about 7 or 8 years. And then really fell into the teaching role. In 2011, I had some opportunities presented to me to get into the corporate marketing world. I had already been helping anybody and everybody who wanted my help as far as marketing, graphic design, music, jingles, voiceover stuff, limited capacity.
Hey, voiceover. What?
Yeah, man. Thank you for calling Best Buy of West Orlando. Your call is very important to us. Like that type of crap.
Nice.
Anything for money, anything I could do to pay the rent. I just didn't want to get evicted. If I got to the next month and the rent got paid, that was like a huge win for me. Right. And so fast forward, I had some hearing loss in 2016. I was legally deaf in my left ear, down to about 10% hearing because of calcification of the eustachian tube from a wicked ear infection. And in a very petty way, I was like, hey, if I can't produce, I'm going to tell everybody how they can make money doing this stuff. And so I started teaching marketing. Started with, the very basics on YouTube, and then fast forward, doing about 10 years in the corporate realm as a marketing director, media director, marketing manager, strategic consultant, all these different roles with these different companies. And I'm like, wow, I can really marry the two, not only for myself, because I thought it was just kind of a fluke. I'm like, it works for me. Of course it works for me. But then working with producer friends and stuff, I realized I can really build this into a system that works. Teach it on YouTube. From there, people asked for, hey, do you have a course? Would you work with me one-on-one? And now here we are. One of my businesses happens to be the Sell Music Academy, as you referenced in my beautiful intro, where, we teach music creators and creatives all around the world how to brand themselves, how to build a business, and the marketing systems around what they're doing to take it from a hobby, take it from, kind of dabbling into a real business and see what they're capable of. No different than I did, no different than, over 1,000 of my students have done. So it's very fulfilling at the end of the day, being able to realize a skill set that you never thought would happen. Dude, I barely graduated from high school, and now I have the honor of guiding and teaching people and feeling very good at what I do.
No, that's awesome, man.
Dude, we say it internally all the time. If we can help 100,000, 1 million people, take off with their careers, whether it be supplemental income, whether it's being able to do it full time, it's so much more fulfilling than working 18 hours in my little home studio doing it for myself and myself only. It's like you have a gift, you got to share it. That's where I'm at now, man. I have a nonprofit called the Adam Ivy Foundation. I own a laser technology company as well, and a platform called thecharts.com. But that's too much for one show.
My goodness.
Circle back.
Yeah, we'll have to do a two-parter. My goodness. I love the hustle. No, what's really interesting, like your story and my story are sort of similar in that around in 2010, I got laid off from a job that I had and kind of had to make this voiceover thing work. I had been doing it on the side for like 5 years, but it was like the first job I had that I actually loved going to work. Like all the other jobs I hated, but I loved this one. So I really saw myself being there for a while, paid good benefits, that whole thing. And then just one day show up to work like, yeah, we got to lay off like 100 people. It's like, what? And the company was only like 140 people. So so it was a small company, but I mean, it was hard, man. And like, yeah, it was one of those things of like, all right, well, now what? Let's make it happen. And I haven't turned back since. And then recently I started coaching and teaching people because the same kind of vibe of like, well, this works for me. People ask me for advice all the time. What if I did help someone? Oh crap, it worked for them too. Yeah, maybe I'm onto something here. And so that's really interesting, man. That we kind of had somewhat similar pathways of kind of figuring our futures out, like as we were living it.
Well, honestly, man, sense. With having the pleasure of hanging out with you last year, right before the pandemic struck everything down, it was like literally days before.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being able to vibe with you, and I can tell that you and I have a lot of similarities and a lot in common, in not only world views, but just that hustle, just that grit that you have to have to be able to pull this stuff off, man. So it's just a great thing to have gotten to know you, man. And again, I just thank you so much for doing this. So you said you had your Wisconsin lifestyle, you're knocking out windows. I remember seeing like some stuff you were like painting or something too. I used to tune JDM cars, right? So like Japanese tuner cars. Most people would know what like a Honda Civic is, but I would rip down Honda Civics and Mitsubishi Eclipses and Nissans.
So you're like Tokyo drifting.
Dude, I loved it because that was all there was to do when it was nice out. I mean, obviously you can't really do much in winter. So you would always have what's called a beater. You'd always have the winter beater.
Right.
But it was kind of my escape. You know, there's a few things that I'm passionate about. I don't think anybody's just one track minded. So working on cars, fitness, comedy, all these things are just, you know, super important to me. And yeah, working on cars, I've painted probably close to a dozen cars in my life and tuned, you know, motors and transmission swaps on the weekend. And I remember when I was probably about 18 or 19, I was helping my buddy swap a motor in a Honda Del Sol. And we literally had ratchet straps tied together over a tree branch to pry the motor out of the engine bay. It was only
not
like
really OSHA regulation.
No, not at all. No, not at all. But back then it was just, you know, you didn't have the same type of adult stresses. The internet wasn't what it is now. It was just like, those were the Sandlot days, man, where you could just go to your buddy's house and drink a case of Mountain Dew and do stupid Cheetos and stuff. Like it sounds like a good time now still, but my body can't be the same. But
me and a buddy of mine that I grew up with, we were just recently talking about like one of our best memories was like watching basketball, seeing a McDonald's commercial for McNuggets, and we were like, let's go. And we both got like a 20 piece and we brought it back, and I think it was like Sprite, Mountain Dew, 40 nuggets, and just having an absolute blast, like playing Sega Genesis and watching basketball. One of the best memories ever. Whereas now you think about it, like I think my heart would stop like immediately.
Good way to go.
Or at least skip a couple of beats, you know. It might be an ER trip, but yeah, man, when you're younger, you can definitely get away with the Mountain Dew binge.
That's why I blame the overconsumption of Mountain Dew as far as why I'm only 5'8". I think I would have hit 6 foot if it wasn't for all the dang yellow
damn Mountain Dew.
Damn Mountain Dew, man.
I don't know. I'm 6'1", so.
Well, you would have been like 6'5". I mean, just.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. I could have been like at least 6'8".
Class action lawsuit.
Mountain Dew, we're coming for you. Well, cool, man. That's actually a really cool story and really inspiring, man, that you were able to kind of like pivot from one thing to the next, found a love of music, and then were able to excel at it. Because so many people are like, oh yeah, I like music, but it kind of never goes anywhere, which I'm sure you know all about. But to actually be so successful at it that you could then in turn you have your hearing loss, you know, obstacle pops up, and that doesn't completely like kill your drive. You're like, you know what, pivot. Now I'm going to teach people how to do this. And yeah, man, I'm proud of everything you've accomplished, dude.
Thank you. It's all about life is all about shifting. It's all about your shelf life. So whether you're doing music, whether you are an athlete, whether you want to be a contractor and build houses, you need a shift. You need to continue to evolve. You need to replace yourself. And then you need to understand that you might have a shelf life. And I'm not sure if Tony Robbins is the guy who originated this, but it's something that stuck with me that he said, you always have to prepare for winter. There's going to be a layoff. There's going to be a down slope in your business. There's going to be hard times. And so how are you bracing for winter? Because it's bound to happen. It's going to happen in your career, my career overall.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a pocket of 3-6 slow months where it's like, good thing I didn't buy that new, you know, that new Rolex or that new Ferrari or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I had a couple of really big clients that just let the contract just end in the last like 12 months. And I was like, okay. So how did show? Hey.
Yeah, exactly. No, and the greatest thing about it is I really feel like it pulls the best out of us, because some people live life and they process everything as if life is happening to them when life is happening for every single one of us. So we have to go through and be proactive and step into it rather than wait to see what meets us at the door. So I think that if you have that mindset, whether you grew up rich, whether you grew up penniless, you're gonna fare pretty well if you go after it and say, I'm the boss of my own actions. I'm the boss of my own emotions. And there's going to be ups and downs, and life is not all rainbows and, you know, unicorns and all that stuff. But it can be if you look at a ugly one-legged horse and say, hey, that could have been a unicorn. You know, like it's all into perception, man.
Absolutely, man. I love it. Well, look, man, that's great. And I feel like we could just talk about that stuff forever. But now
I said all day.
But now it is time for
The Wheel of What?
So we're going to bring this thing out. We got this thing here, very high tech.
Yeah,
right.
I'm going to buy you one that's like 8 times that size. It's just going to annoy your wife every time. It'll come on a freight truck.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
like the wheel on Price is Right.
Yeah, they're just like spin it down. So we got to knock out the wall to your house to get this in. Like, all right, Adam sent it, so I got it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spin this, and I'm gonna need you to answer very truthfully. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Hidden talent.
Ooh.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Probably. I can sing certain songs with delay already built in. Like, as dumb as it sounds, I've never shared this publicly. So you know the Oompa Loompa song from Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but back in high school, I started singing it, and I'm like, I could add delay, and it's not really a talent. It's quite embarrassing, but like if you go,
I'm here for it.
Doom doom papa doompa dee doo doo. I've got another problem for you. What do you get when you go down the sweet? It's stupid.
What
right?
is happening right now?
Yeah.
Like,
it's ridiculous.
Incredible.
So
that's amazing.
It's ridiculous. And I'm not going to try to beatbox, but true story, one of my first cars did not have a radio. So I would literally beatbox all the way to work, all the way home, because I was so bored that I didn't have music. I mean, these are days before we had like MP3 players and all this stuff.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that one because it says one talent.
It did say hidden talent. I mean, if you want to give us a bonus, I mean, I'll beatbox with you, man.
I can't. No. Maybe next episode. All
right, we'll bring you back in the anniversary episode, Greatest Hits. That was incredible. Thanks, like, man. I really was like, what? Wait, what? Did I hit a button?
It is probably like the top 10 dumbest things anybody will ever see. But
I love it. Totally was not expecting that. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
That was incredible. All right, man. We could just end it now.
All
right. So, so for the second half of the show is the other side of how did, and that is a situation where you had to say to yourself, Adam, how in the hell did I get here? So what do you got for us?
One that always stands out to me was back in the day when I was trying to get my feet wet with the music production stuff. I worked with a local guy here in the Orlando area, still to this day, one of the most talented artists that I've ever worked with in my life. And they sold me kind of on the dream. They're like, you're going to be the executive producer. You're going to produce for all these different records. And, when we release this is going to be a huge success. We're going to pay you based on record sales and stuff like that. It's always like, oh, this is going to be a great opportunity. He has some pretty big collabs in the works, the whole nine. But the one thing is, this guy had a manager that was like his brother, right? Not literally, but everything went through this guy. Okay. I couldn't make any suggestions with anything he was doing unless he would say, well, I'm going to run it by this guy. Excuse me. So fast forward, my brother had some heart issues back in 2011. So for about 8 months, I moved back to Wisconsin. I'm like, I want to be close to my brother. I'm the oldest of three. I'm very close with my brothers, love them to death. And as I was living in Wisconsin, producing and just kind of reconnecting with my family, I get a phone call from this manager. He's like, hey, man, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done on this project. We're releasing the mixtape like the next day or whatever, next week. Mm-hmm. I'm like, mixtape? That sounds like you're going to give that thing away for free. Okay. Yeah. And, I was kind of wet behind the ears still. I was still learning the business. And I brought it up, but I didn't want to come off entitled or anything like that. So I'm like, hey, part of the deal was that we would split this and this and this, and we have these split sheets. And if you're just giving it away as a mixtape, how's that going to work? Right. Well, you're going to get exposure, like the number one thing, you're going to get exposure.
Good old exposure.
And this and that. And I sent you something in the mail I think you're really going to like. You're really going to appreciate. I'm like, maybe he sent me a check. Maybe. Okay, cool. So a couple days pass, maybe a week, and I get this little package in the mail, and it's a little plaque. It's a little wood plaque. It's about this big, like a fourth place trophy size plaque.
Employee of the month at Arby's.
Exactly. It's pretty much. So it's this plaque, and it has the cover art from this mixtape, and it says, "In appreciation for Adam Ivy,
Right.
2011 or whatever." I'm like, okay, cool. Well, this plaque is squared, but the thing that's stuck to it is crooked. So you try to hang this plaque and it's clearly crooked.
Yeah.
And so I reach out to him. I'm like, "Hey man, I really do appreciate the plaque. It's very cool." And then I say, who made these? And he didn't tell me. And he's like, "Oh, why? What's up?" And I took a photo and I sent it to him. And I'm like, the plaque aspect, the wood's straight, but the sticker part is crooked. I'm not going to make this longer than it has to be. Anyway, he called me. So I'm thinking he's going to be like, "Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
Right.
Let me get you a different one." Or like, "How you been? Let's catch up." He called me yelling at me like he had his phone lodged in the back of his throat. It was just like, it just was very, very abrasive.
Yes.
And so all that I pulled out of this, it was just like, "Oh," and then he caught like a phrase. "Oh," I caught another phrase, is that, "Don't you ever come back to Orlando. I'm going to hunt your mother down." I'm like, this is the same guy, bro. This is the same guy that like a week before was like, "Hey brother, I'm so appreciative of everything that you
love you so much, man.
Love you so much. I can't, like you're like family to us." And I'm just like,
and I'm going to kill your mom now.
He literally said he's going to hunt my mother down and kill her because I made him aware of a plaque. Like side note, I would have rather him just pay me $25 rather than send me a plaque for a reminder of how I didn't get paid on a project. Yeah. It's so
okay.
That really opened my eyes to the fact that you can do buddy deals, but you really need to be business oriented a little bit more than I had been. And that's just one of many stories, but you find yourself then hearing stories about how that person's flipped on other people and how it's just sad because, this person, incredibly talented, trusted in the wrong person, in my opinion.
Right.
And now here he is in his mid to late 40s and nothing ever happened. Go figure.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that.
Didn't work out hunting people's moms down.
No, it's a side note.
Career.
Side note, he ended up hunting my mom down. They're in a beautiful interracial relationship now.
He's family.
Yeah, now he's my stepdad. I'm just kidding.
That's the Lifetime movie.
Yeah, exactly. My little 5'0" mom with this big black dude. I mean, it's beautiful, man. I love it.
Oh man.
No, but
love is love.
Yeah, 100%. But no, he never circled back or anything like that. But I will say, man, when you bring a person's family into it over like,
that kind of takes it to a different level.
It just opens your eyes to like, sometimes people's agenda isn't necessarily what they portray. You try to trust people, but the music industry, no different than any entertainment industry.
I was gonna say entertainment in general.
Yeah, man.
So that
was one of those things where it was just like,
you're on the phone like, what is happening? Like, I don't even know how to process this.
I didn't finish that. Like he was yelling at me. And at the end, I'm like, are you finished? Cause I didn't understand anything you just said to me.
Yeah. Could you repeat that?
And then he went off on me again, but I'm going to leave that for behind the scenes conversation. Cause some of the stuff he said was pretty hateful, pretty beyond just hunting down my mom. But anyway, another aspect.
Damn, it gets worse than hunting down your mom. Holy crap.
Well, there was some pretty gory details of what he would do if I came back to Orlando, but God bless him. God bless him.
And how long have you been in Orlando since?
10 years now. 10 years.
Hey.
I'm celebrating my I'm alive. Cheers to me being alive and not being hunted down.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, some rapper's manager who didn't want to pay me $150.
I think you turned out all right, despite the threats.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But no, my life is full of just like an abundance of awesomeness. I try to live on a high frequency, but it's like, when we bought our house, for example, I walked in and my wife played it way cooler than I did. We walked into our house after we closed and I was just like, this is our effing house.
Yeah.
Like I was homeless at 17 and now we have a 4,000 square foot house on an acre and just like, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man, I mean, life has its abundance of greatness beyond material possessions, but also
It's
has
still
its
cool.
abundance of, yeah, has
We
its
won't even
abundance.
talk about your Audi.
I'm selling the Audi if you want
What?
to buy it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it might be out of my
I
budget.
no, I believe it or not, I actually, like an hour or two before we got on this call, I was on the phone with the Ferrari dealership trying to work a deal on a Lamborghini Huracan, but I'm kind of a shrewd negotiator because I've owned like over 80 cars in my life from the tuning days, and I used
Yeah.
to flip cars and stuff. And so I'm on the phone and I'm like, this is what I want for trade. This is what I want for sticker. This is
Yeah.
what I want out the door. And he's like, well, you could want your way. And I'm not gonna take up time on this amazing show telling you my car negotiation,
Your car negotiation.
skills. But
We'll edit it out. Maybe not.
okay, that works.
Well, look,
Anyway,
man. Thank you so much. This has actually been amazing. One last question.
Yeah.
The hair, dude. It is epic. So, like, how did you arrive at such an epic? What is that like? What is it?
It's
called?
kind of like
whatever it's called.
like a pompadour mixes.
Pompadour. There we go. Yeah.
It's kind of like combed over a little bit. I don't know, man. So I'll tell you straight away, and I've never shared this story publicly.
This is too exclusive on the How Did Show.
So something that I've been self-conscious about my entire life is that I was born with crazy cowlicks in the front of my head. You can see it on this side, how it comes up.
Yeah.
And then it comes up on this side. So as I was growing my hair out a little bit, I always did the spiky look and, kind of like the sixth member of NSYNC or something. And so
bye.
So we need a duet, dude. People would come for that. They would pay money for us. But I used to have like a skin fade all the time for years and years and years, where I just shaved my head, didn't want to do anything with it. But eventually it got to the point where I had, you see these, men's hair pages on Instagram or somebody on YouTube, like a hair channel. And I was like, I always wanted to do something a little bit more intentional. Long story short, I went to a barber and I'm like, hey, I want to try this with my hair a little bit longer. It didn't really work out, but I knew what it could be if I just kind of worked it more. So the hard part and the fade, I have a shit ton of grays, as you can see.
Yeah, man. Got the salt and pepper action going.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the joys of being a business owner. But keeping the sides really short and then the top, having the hair up and over, kind of hides this other cowlick over here. It just kind of became my signature
inside info right here on the How Did Show. No, I mean, because it's pretty epic, man. It's pretty awesome hair, man.
It's my calling card.
I was gonna say it's part of your brand now.
That's
part of your brand. That should be like the outline of your logo, just like the hairline.
Just no face, just the hair.
I've seen it work. Well, look, man, thank you so much. This has been a blast. So really quick, where can people find you? Learn about the Sell Music class, Academy, your Sell Music Academy, and where can they find you on social media? Sure, man.
So if you go to musicmarketing.com, it'll take you right to my YouTube channel right now. Over 300 videos. If you have a small business, if you're getting into voiceover work, the videos are very topical as far as building your brand, growing your business, getting your marketing in order. And it's free. So definitely start there. You can go to adamivy.com to get some more information about myself. Admittedly, my website needs to be updated. It's a little bit dated at this point, but Adam Ivy everywhere. Adam Ivy on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. And yeah, I do have a couple paid courses. I don't try to push them too hard. But if you go to adamivymentorship.com, you can get more information on my one-on-one program if you're looking for help very directly with my team and I to get you on the right path. But overall, I love connecting with people. So just come over to Instagram, say, hey, I saw you on the How Did Show. And then from here, we'll start a beautiful friendship. And maybe the next thing that you'll be doing is being on my show or introducing me like Donovan's doing here. So
no one can do it like me.
No, well, you got the golden voice, dude, the $1 million voice over here. But I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's always good catching up, and I'm hoping people found some value or a little bit of entertainment.
A little bit of entertainment. I did. I was entertained. Yeah, we're gonna have to have that as part of like the I'll get you to do some like vocal delay just for our opening sequence.
It's never coming back out of the vault. The last time, once every 10 years.
I won't be sad that it went away. I'll be happy that I got to experience it at least once in my life.
Just cherish the moment.
I will. Thank you so
Thanks
much, Adam
again, man.
Ivy.
It's been a blast.
Thank you so much, man. Have a great one. Peace.
You too.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me and having some fun as we interview some really, really interesting people. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more episodes of The How Did Show.